What's up, everybody? So, got a little change of pace. I know I've done a few reviews on a few products I've bought in like the Husky box, and I'm pretty sure I'm I'm missing a few. Oh, and actually we're going to do another review on, ironically enough, the 3M 2.0 PPS gun. But that's just not the only one we'll touch base on. So, as a lot of y'all might have already known, that I just shut down my paint shop as of December 31st. It's now currently, I guess, what we'll call it. It's January 6th. So I've had a few days to unwind and kind of clean up some stuff, and kind of figured I want to go ahead and touch base on a few things that I've really just genuinely wanted to just touch base on for a lot of the guys starting out in painting. By no means, I'm not a professional painter at all. Like, I like to paint as a hobby, as a, well, guy who likes to paint. Like I said, it's been one of the things I've wanted to touch base on ever since I've bought my first proper gun set. Not trying to be triggering on YouTube, whatever. Paint guns. So my first paint gun was a Devil Bit starting line. Everybody said Harbor Freight. I think I was painting actually the first car I legitimately painted without rattle can was my A31 Zafiro. That looked like crap, but it came out with one of the cleanest paint jobs I did. Granted, there was a lot of polishing. I learned a lot with that car, and through the years of learning how to paint, I think about 4 years now of painting with that car, I've understood quite a lot about painting. And I mean, I'm still learning every time I'll watch something new on YouTube, or even just talk to somebody. Even some of the old guys that are out here still shooting cars now. We've got a really good company. I also would like to shout them out, if I will. Two guys. They have been the bread and butter of the last few months of our paint shop. Without them, a lot of our projects would not have been done, came out as nice as they did. Shout out to them. If you're in the Florence, or the North Alabama area, granted, we're Northwest Alabama. Really cool, shop that does a lot of stuff. Solid group of guys. They've taken very good care of me, and again, never once really asked for any crazy advice or support, but they've steered me in a lot of cool directions. And one of those is one thing that I'd really like to touch base on. I'd always had a bunch of issues with clear, and I've used everything from $65 clear to $300 clear. I'm sure there's probably somebody out there that's going to say, well, they go $300. Anyway, gallons of clears, we'll technically just say. I've always had issues with paint guns with it. I've not always had the best setups. I've not always had the best desk and dryers. I've not always had the best of everything that could have probably made these professional shops have these crazy qualities. Again, technique's a big thing, but also prep. But we'll preface it later. But I'm very happy to say that, I started out with this starting line kit. Great kit. I mean, if you are literally just learning paint and just want to mess around, these two guns are great. It comes in a kit. I'll link it. There's going to be a lot of links in this, so just be prepared. But not our homie with the black FRS link. Shout out to him also. He's also let me paint his front bumper and actually have some fun with it. But, if you just had to spend the money right now to get a good all-around gun, like I said, I know a lot of professional paint shops really harp on this gun, but it's still this. I hate to say this. If you want a good all-around gun that you can get good quality out of just about everything from A to Z, granted, if you were worried about time and turnover and all that, this gun will also be a great savings for you. I am a horrible person when it comes to cleaning my gun. Like, there's those late nights when I need to go to sleep that I just forget. Where I'm human. It happens. But this gun saves the day. It is super modular. You can go from I think a 1.3s or smaller, maybe even smaller than that, to I think a 2.0 tip. And again, all you gotta do is wipe the nozzle. If you want to clean this, clean it. It saves you some money. That's fine. I actually ended up starting to reclaim a lot of these. Again, the quality doesn't go down, but if you're going to shoot, sealer primer through it, and you're shooting like white or whatever, go ahead and run some reducer through it, and just, or acetone, whatever you want to actually like clean this. It's not going to be the end of the day, but if you're going to shoot like metallic stuff like that, go ahead and just get you a new one. Just start you a new, like, anyway. Nonetheless, this is a great kit, but it's not the best takeaway I have for this kit. The cup system's bad. It is not bad, but like bad. So I messed around with the 22 ounce setup for a very long time. Always had issues with not having enough volume. Switched to, I actually ended up buying the 28 ounce kit. Very happy with it. Always kind of kept my eye on the, I think it's like an 8 ounce or 6 ounce little mini cups. Ended up going with those last minute. I think for our last Brody's panel job, actually, was the one I made the swap. So, crazy turnover with that gun. Love it. Can't complain. Love everything about the cup system, everything. Now let's talk about clears again. Had a lot of trouble with that gun. It's not the best. I'm sure with certain clears, high solids, you can get the same quality if you, again, I had a built booth that I built myself that had a crossflow. You might have a downdraft. You might actually just be painting a tint. I don't really care what you are doing. Just, again, I'm not a professional. I can't say what is good and what is bad. But I had always harped on a lot of guys saying you need to spend the money on a good clear gun. And again, there's going to be a lot of backlash. But man, I bought the DV1 with the digital regulator. You want to talk about a gun, you can shoot everything clear white. Like, I'm actually genuinely contemplating getting the color, or the I forgot, this comes in a clear and another gun. I've genuinely thought about buying this in the other variant of this, not the clear one. It actually comes with a 1.3 and I think a 1.2 nozzle setup. But again, crazy gun. I mean, this changed the game. I love it. If you're going to spend the money on it, if you're going to do paint, even as again, a hobbyist is not going to spend $800, but I will say, as a hobbyist, I will spend this amount of money to get that quality, like, clear. I'm very happy with this gun. It has done wonders, especially when you compare it to a, like, I think you buy the whole, like, starting kit for this gun is like $300. This gun was like $800 out the door. Again, can't complain. Day and night. That's all I'm going to say about it. I picked this up, I think, from either Paint Huffer or Tropical Lids. It's the Flake King. I'll link that as well. This right here, you get you a really good, like I said, House of Color intercoat. Bro, I've blasted the Zafiro with Flake. I mean, if you are very aware of my A31 Zafiro, it is a bass boat. And this right here is what blew all the flake on that car. Granted, there's a technique when you do it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you gotta mix it in with clear." You're gonna have an issue if you stand that far away from trying to shoot big, heavy flake. And I've had issues. You might also not have issues, but when you're spraying a colored flake, when you're trying to knock it down, you'll get, if you take your Scotch-Brite, you'll try to knock it down, you'll get, I guess you'll take the color away from the flake. It's kind of hard to explain it. I ran into this problem. I was really upset about it. Before that was my solution, my problem solver, my equalizer. Big Betty. This is a 2.5 millimeter nozzle. And it can shoot flake. You can absolutely shoot, I think I put .025 flake in this whenever I was shooting stuff before. I think I got it on Amazon. It's like a $20 to $40 gun. Crazy. But it would never get your flake to lay down flat. A good slow reducer with a intercoat, flake carrier, whatever you want to call it. And this bad boy, I'm telling you, that it's money well spent. Again, I want to hear what you have to say. If you've got a technique, if you've got something that is just absolutely, you know, going to change the game for me, I'd like to hear it. If you've got something that, you know, you'd like to say that, hey, you know, you're doing something wrong, tell me. I'm always down to learn. But we're not done with guns yet. I know this is kind of one of those weird topics, but I felt like I wanted to rant and kind of give a little insight. And another thing, I think I got this thing from Stick It Sizzles. I've done a lot of airbrushing. I'm not a pro at it. I can't do crazy, you know, clowns. I'm still learning, Every time I spray, it's still a work in process. So I got this badass Stick It Sizzle. This is my first airbrush that I ever bought. It was $99, and everybody was like, "Oh, bro, that's a cool vape." It is a neat little gun. You don't have to worry about it. Actually was so, you know, you gotta buy the best of everything. I think this right here was $99, like I said. Stick It Stencils. I don't know if they still sell them or not. Great little machine. I got to the point where I was like, you know what? If $99 is good, I really want to buy an Iwata. First time I've heard so many people talk so highly of Iwata. Granted, I had my first iteration where I didn't know much about candies. I didn't know, you know, some candies like certain reducers. I don't know. I had this issue with, I think it was Hot Hues. I have to go back and look. Anyway, the candy that matches the Saphiro right now, I did not like how it would just gum that gun up. And a buddy of mine was like, well, it's probably not that. It's probably just the gun itself just not having a large enough orifice for the candy to flow through. I was like, bro, it's liquid. Anyway, it did have issues going up. We'll cover that at some point later. So I bought a Neo from Iwata with a little air pump. I love this little guy. Night and day difference. Again, you don't always have to buy the highest end stuff, but I will say, if you do opt for a airbrush gun, as a person who is wanting to get into airbrushing stuff on cars, you know, candy, stuff like that, think about it this way. If you do not have a good enough finger control for like this style, get you the trigger. I played around with one a few months ago, and I was very irritated that I didn't have the proper coordination with my finger. If they sell, I'm sure they sell this in a trigger style, or you could probably 3D print something. Again, not here to reinvent the wheel. But I do know for a fact that Stick It Stencil did sell these at one point. I think Paint Huffer might be the one that's still like wheeling these out. Again, shout out to Paint Huffer. Again, I've got a ton of flake from Tropical Glitz, Paint Huffer, Blake's Flakes. I'm sure there's a lot more. If you can ask anybody that has ever toured the paint shop or even my basement at one point, I've got flake. And even my house is full of flake. For the longest time after I started playing around with flake, everybody thought I had strippers living at my house. That's a joke. Yeah. But again, so I was at that point where I was like, well, you know what? Let's not, going back to their brushing. It's like, let's see what I forgot where or what I bought this from. I can't even recall. Don't quote me on it. I think I bought this thing on Amazon, maybe. Again, I don't know. It's a really nice quality. Again, it's good. It does its job. This actually hooks to shop air with a really good regulator. It does a very good job. It's one of those things at the time, I didn't have the Iwata yet. I had this. It did its job, but not as good as the Stick It Sizzle. Again, if you find one of these right here with the proper, like, the trigger style, get it. Gives you way more control over, well, any of your spray action. I can go on and on about this. It's actually one of the things I very much enjoy. But again, if you are a hobbyist, go with what you can afford. I've got friends that can shoot stuff out of a Harbor Freight gun that have been shooting for years. I've got friends who, you know, are few and they're in between. You've got guys who will buy the nicest guns. I literally had an old dude tell me that this is the biggest waste of money, and he has an old SATA that can outspray it. Again, it doesn't always have to come down to that, but I just would like to touch base as, you know, between these two guns, you don't have to buy the nicest one of these. I would 1,000 times over. If it wasn't for the simplistic fact that this gun can go from so many different colors in so, you know, so short a time with so little downtime and so little cleanup. Again, if you are a hobbyist, get this gun. If you are a professional, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of things to say about it. It's not a real painter's gun. I don't care. I've done some beautiful paint jobs with this gun. You are going to have a learning curve with it. This is a gun that has put me through my paces and has taught me how to become a better painter because of this gun. Because again, the Devil Bisque starting line, beautiful guns. They've done a great job. They have taught me how to paint and start out how to paint. But this has made me become a better painter. Better coverage, learning how to do proper overlapping. And again, very, very little prep. Well, not prep. I do very little wet sanding now. Between these two guns, once I've got everything down, proper materials, proper paints, it goes back to, again, preference. I've always shot urethane paint. Get it from Tropical Glitz. Get it from, like I said, there's a ton of paint companies out there, guys. Good clears, a good happy clear that you're going to use on a project. Red's one of the worst colors out there to paint, and paint it cheap at that. High-tech clear has done me right several times. Like I said, I've got a customer's GTR William. Shout out to him who let me paint, and it was one of those, like, I twisted his arm and look, the last paint job of our shop is going to be this GTR. I want to do the rust repair, and we did this. I think I did this all in, like, let's be real, I think it was like 8 days. It seems like a fever dream. It was, if not more, probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. But nonetheless, like, again, I keep going back off base. Spend the money on what you want, because the quality of materials you use, the guns you use, doesn't always have to be that way. You're going to learn through trial and error. But as a 34-year-old or 33-year-old guy that has been painting for the past almost 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, we'll just go within a 5-year spec. I've spent a lot of time and money on paint and learning and trying to buy the cheapest thing I could to make it work. As somebody who would just try to tell the hobbyist, buy what you can afford within reason. If you're looking to do this long term, and if you find this is something you enjoy, like I said, this gun right here has paid off. If you are somebody who is just wanting to start a project, buy this gun. Like I said, you're going to save so much time, because if you are anything like me, you're not, you know, you're a dude that works all the time, or you got a job. I'm not sponsored by 3M by any means. This gun right here will save you, because like I said, you can go from primer or sealer primer, or excuse me, you can go from like your epoxy primers to your sealers, all the way to your base, and even your clear coat with this one gun. You can buy the assorted kit. You can buy like 3 of them, 3 assorted kits. Has the 2.0, 1.8, 1.4, I think 1.3 in it. Buy like 3 or 4 of those kits. If you're going to try to like shoot your car, and like, not just shoot your car, but like you're going to shoot your car in stages, those 3 or 4 kits will do you absolute justice, man. It gets you a good compressor, desk it. I can't say, like, I'll link this as well, because I'm actually about to rebuild this setup in my shop, or my basement. Good desk kit setup. If you live in the South, you're gonna fight humidity. I've cobbled together several different setups. A good desk kit that's like reusable is good. Links also in the description. Anyway, good desking, good compressor. This gun will save you a lot of time, money, and effort on projects. But I'm still going to rep this gun. I'm still going to at some point buy the other variant of this gun just because of how well it shoots. And my last piece of advice, guys, I mean, even as like a hobbyist, if you are painting a car, and this is a shout out to Chad Shelton, who has bestowed upon me his painter stance. And these little, I'll again link them in the description below. These little guys right here, you get you the assorted kit on Amazon. If you find, of course, if you're painting here or wherever, if you even have like a hair or whatever drop in your paint, you're clear. These little guys right here will save your butt. And I mean that seriously. One of the other smaller investments that have actually paid for themselves over and over and over again. With that being said, I appreciate you guys, sitting down with me. You might be at work, you might be doing whatever. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. I'm probably going to keep doing product reviews, but I figured since I was out, cleaning my guns, trying to, stay warm. It's cold. It snowed today. But y'all stay safe, have fun, and again, thank you for watching.